Like, what a great football game. You bet the Rams, money line, took the points. What an unbelievable comeback win and cover, obviously, for the Los Angeles Rams. Femi, you are invested on the Ramily this season to achieve great outcomes. You obviously needed them to win that game. They fall behind by multiple touchdowns to Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, and the Niners, and they come back to win. You know, obviously, like, you won your bets, and, like, other bets are now still alive as a result. Take us through, like, you watching yesterday's game.
Yeah, so the viewing experience for me, so that game's going on. I told you, like, Friday, I said, I'm going to have a lot in that late window. Like, I had that game going on. I had the Lions and the Cardinals. I had nothing in the big game, the Cowboys-Ravens game, but I had Raiders, Panthers action in that. Like, so there was a lot happening. I'm trying to keep an eye on this game. Also, Dolphins-Seahawks. We won't speak of that performance by the Miami Dolphins and what they did up there in the Pacific Northwest. But
CLV Graveyard, by the way, buddy. Dolphins plus 6.5. Right next for me for Oklahoma plus 7.5 this weekend in the closing line value Graveyard.
Honestly, thinking back on it, I'm just like, I think we just made bad bets because Skylar Thompson against Mike McDonald. What should we have expected to happen? Is what happened in that game.
Well, we bet 6.5 and it closed 4. I mean, like, what can you do?
Yeah. I mean, good bets on the surface, but then like 2 series in, I'm like, we're screwed. But
yeah, we're done.
Watching that game, watching the Rams and the Niners game, the whole time, at no point did I think the Rams could actually win the game. I was just like, could they ever just get in a position to backdoor cover? Let's say the Niners get up 10 and they can backdoor and make it a 3-point game. Or if the Niners get up 14, maybe they backdoor and then they lose by 7 because I was sitting on 7.5. And I was just kind of was thinking about how I feel like I made good bets on the Rams going into the season. I thought that they were the team in the NFC, but injuries completely derailed it because Stafford's running for his life. They can't stop the Niners offense. Juwan Jennings is out there looking like John Taylor or freaking Jerry Rice out there for the 49ers. Like, it was ridiculous with what Juwan Jennings did in that game. And I was talking a lot of crap about Juwan Jennings, so he shut me up and what he did in the game. But like, at no point could they stop the 49ers offense. And I was just kind of seeing all of my investments go down the drain. And then, you know what? A glimmer of hope came out. Like the Rams got a couple stops. They started to make some plays on offense. Stafford got rolling. They got a couple of breaks. The missed field goal by Jake Moody, which I'm curious to get your thoughts on this one. If I was Kyle Shanahan, I don't think I would have actually trotted him out there. I would have
classic Kyle. I would have. Here's Mad Eye Moody from 55. Like, what are you doing, buddy?
It's like, just punt the ball and make the Rams go 90 yards to tie the game. Like, don't give them a short field. Yeah, like, you want to make it a 10-point game because the game is probably over if he makes it. But just make them go 90 yards versus, hey, he misses it, which what happened. And then now they only go 50 yards to tie the game. But I digress. Like, you got that break. And then the Rams with a great drive to go ahead and tie it. And, of course, the punt return's happening. I'm going nuts. Like, I texted the group chat. I was like, OMG. Like, I thought he was going to house it. But when he had that punt return, I'm like, at that point, that was the first time that I thought they could actually win the game. Because even when they tied it, I thought they were going to go down the field. The Niners were at least getting the field goal range, which they should have. Ronnie Bell, like, brick hands out there. Purdy threw a great pass. Bell drops the ball. That would have set them up in field goal range. But I thought the Niners were for sure going to get into field goal range. And it was going to come down to whether Moody made the kick and win the game or we went to overtime. Like, it wasn't until the punt return for the Rams that I thought that, wow, they can actually win this football game. They get the pass interference call, as we heard on the rejoin, and they ultimately win. And it was just honestly a sigh of relief that these tickets still have life. Now, maybe they lose to the Bears on Sunday, and we're right back to square one, and it's over. But it was just a sigh of relief that for one more week, we can at least keep the Ramily together. We don't have to start worrying about what we're going to do for the holidays. We don't have to worry about custody battles. We're going to keep the family intact for at least one more week, and we'll see what happens in the Windy City come Sunday. But an awesome viewing experience as my team that I actually root for is getting beat down by the Baltimore Ravens.
And shout out to me for betting the Ravens in that game, although they did make it a little close for comfort. By the way, my handicap of the Colts-Bears game this past weekend, you take Matt Eberflus, I'll take Shane Steichen. Can I interest anyone in the handicap of you take Matt Eberflus, I'll take Sean McVay? Bears and the Rams, Sunday in Chicago. This was another one where it's like, okay, like Bears won or Rams won. It's Bears 2.5 right now. 2.5. At home against the Rams. Bears lose on the road in Indianapolis. The Rams with the stirring comeback win on the road, at home, against San Fran, total of 41.
Yeah, we're 2.5. And like from a number standpoint, I guess you can talk yourself into this making sense. Now, like when I think about the game and I think about the head coach quarterback combinations in that matchup, I feel like it's a big mismatch in favor of the Rams. But then when you add on all the injuries with no Puka Nacua, no Kupp, the O-line, Steve Avila, Jonah Jackson, those guys are banged up. John Johnson on the back end of the secondary, he's banged up. Like the Rams have a litany of injuries despite what we saw yesterday in a game that they probably shouldn't have won. Like they were like almost doubled up in yardage as well in that game. So it wasn't really like a super convincing performance from the Rams. It was just more so a season-saving performance. But for me, like, I don't know, like if we ever got to 3, it's an auto bet on the Los Angeles Rams. Like it just can never be 3. And I'm not sure we would get there because it would probably last all of like a minute, maybe 90 seconds at most. So I'm going to be on the hunt. Hopefully we do get that 3. Maybe it's a teasing the Rams up to 8.5 because the Bears offense hasn't shown that they can kind of win by margin and go ahead and win like 10, 11 points, like that kind of a performance because they've been lost offensively and their O-line is atrocious. So that's kind of how I'm going to look to attack this game. But right now for the side, I wouldn't really take plus 2.5. I would just look to kind of tease this game, maybe up to 8.5 or hope that we do get the 3. Then at that point, then you can go ahead and back the Los Angeles Rams.
And by the way, like, I love that was my thought also, was to tease the Rams. Make me pick the game. I'll take Sean McVay over Matt Eberflus. Like, yeah. I would never lay the Bears at any numbers like this. But I think teasing the Rams up to plus 8.5, and honestly, with like either side in the Falcons-Saints game, especially as the total continues to drop there, and the total is low in the Bears-Rams game, like Saints 7.5, Rams 8.5. At the moment right now, for those inclined, feels like a pretty decent teaser leg. I may end up just like betting the Rams to win the game. Because again, you get Matt Eberflus, I'll take Sean McVay and the great Matthew Stafford.
The Rams, of course, saving their season, at least in the interim, yesterday with the come-from-behind win against the San Francisco 49ers, the Bears falling to the Indianapolis Colts. Now Chicago's a 2.5-point favorite. The total is sitting at 41. Cooper Kupp was announced that he's going to be out. McVay just told that to the media about 20 minutes ago. What do you make of this mark to here, side and total with the Bears and Rams? Are you doing anything in this game, and how do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I think I'm ready to get hurt again and bet on the Bears here, minus 2.5. This Rams team is just really interesting because they're beat up. They basically played a lot of 12 personnel last week to try and make up for some of the offensive line issues as well as some of the receiving core issues because they clearly don't seem to think that any of their receivers can actually fit in the roles that they've designed for them. Cooper Kupp. There's a lot of talk about Jordan Whittington being the Cooper Kupp role. He only ran around on it was 40% drop back, something like that. And then same with Tyler Johnson, who's supposed to play in the Puka Nacua, running like 16 routes out there. The only one who's really viable at this point is Demarcus Robinson, and it just doesn't seem to be going very well. So I have a hard time thinking that this Rams passing game gets going here against the Bears defense, which has played really well. The Bears offense has been the issue, and it's admittedly gotten better every week. It started off so bad. It's obviously just not good enough yet, but there's enough flashes, I think, that this Bears offense I could see taking a step here in this stretch of schedules when they get the Rams and some other easier matchups offensively as well. So I like the Bears here at anything less than 3.